I believe we are hitting thresholds of just too much debt. The only solution we have now is reorienting, reimagining how we finance growth. And I think the way we're going to be able to finance growth is public-private. There's so much private money that is looking for great long-term investments to work, whether that is in power grids or infrastructure, in sustainability, charging stations, you name it. And so in all our conversations is how can we reimagine finance? How can we find a better structure, and how can we then leverage public finance with private capital to augment growth?
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Support this great content by hitting the Cash App and by joining the Patreon.
And we have BlackRock's Larry Fink talking about private money ready to come in. And guys, we know the hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars sitting on the sideline. If you look at the top 13 companies, they probably have over $1 trillion of cash just sitting there. And why? It's for the digital transformation. They're going to be getting ready for the robots, algorithms, and drones. The only thing we're waiting for is the magic trick. We know they're the master magicians. Distract the masses while they build. And we know the fourth quarter brings the greatest movies. And we have Brad Garlinghouse talking about Gary Gensler. And we know that case was bought in December. And then we have the bank man. Guys, all this always happens in the fourth quarter. And we know Gary Gensler's job is to kick the regulation can down the road while the emerging markets rise. And speaking of movies, we have Kevin McCarthy getting a temporary spending bill for 45 days passed in the House. And then it's going to move over to the Senate. And don't forget, we just went through this 5 months ago with the debt ceiling, bringing it down to the wire. And we know the politicians are nothing but paid puppets, actors and actresses. And then, guys, we have the digital ID is definitely making its way global. And we know the mainstream media plays both sides, using the Hegelian dialectic to get to the agenda. And yes, digital ID, we know, will start on the phone, and then it's going to move to the NFT, so therefore be used inside the metaverse. These social platforms, Twitter, Facebook, they have majority of your information already, and it's perfect for social credit. But remember, guys, this is a plan. The NWO takes you in phases, so therefore the sheep stay asleep. And by the time they wake up, guys, we know the machines would have taken over. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows, when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
I want to add one thing to this. I think one of the first things Stu said there was really important. Gary Gensler goes out and says that they are winning these cases. The only cases they basically only lost cases because a settlement.
Anyone that takes the case wins.
Right, exactly. If a settlement is not a victory, a settlement is a bully who comes in and says, you will yield to me or I am going to do these things. Not many people had the conviction and resources to stand up to him.
Yeah.
I absolutely applaud Grayscale. Look, I know Brian Armstrong's on stage tomorrow. Yep. Coinbase is fighting the good fight.
Yep.
And you have to stand up to a bully. And I think as Stu's describing, when you stand up to them, they're losing.
Yeah.
He'll say, if he would accept your invitation to come on stage, he would say, look, they're winning and they're doing these things. Like, no, you're not. You're bullying people into submission.
You can always count on Americans to do what's right after they exhausted every other option. It is very clear that I tried every possible way, listening to every single person in the conference. When we went to vote on a probes bills you didn't think we could pass, we passed them. It was tough, but we got it through. We made sure we came down the last hour. Would I have wanted the bill we put on the floor yesterday that would secure our border, cut wasteful spending? Yes, I did. But I had some members in our own conference that wouldn't vote for that. So if you have members in your conference that won't let you vote for appropriation bills, doesn't want an omnibus, and won't vote for a stopgap measure, so the only answer is to shut down and not pay our troops, I don't want to be a part of that team. I want to be a part of a conservative group that wants to get things done.
Later, we did budgets. We did a biennium bill, got it done in 3.5 months, talked to all the agencies, the stakeholders. There's no process here. We haven't done a budget that we've adhered to since the late 90s. So looking at where we're at now, I just listened to Kevin. That sounds about as good a way for us to get to avoid a shutdown. It depends on, is your priority to keep the government going? I wish we had a bill out there. I'm for a no government shutdown bill. That should be a bill that eliminates this kind of drama at the end of your fiscal year. We also need another bill. No budget, you don't get a paycheck. Then you'd see things getting done on time. And I'll end with this in terms of the malaise we've got. When I got here 5 years ago, the default was borrow money. It was $1 trillion a year. It's now $1 trillion every 6 months. Regardless of what you believe the federal government should do, it's not good for the institution. It's terrible for America, and we are in a place that is disgusting, I think, to most people out there watching it.
Out there advocating that we all have to have digital IDs because the future will be digital. You shouldn't have privacy, apparently. Yeah, that's what she believes. She claims that the IDs can be a real booster to emerging economies. The trick is to build public digital infrastructure, she said, that is interoperable, open to all, and trusted. Joining me now to explain just how dangerous this is, Nigel Farage, former Brexit Party leader. Nigel, this is about global government control and a way to, what, redistribute the wealth away from the so-called wealthy nations to everybody else?
Well, it's about control, isn't it? I mean, this is the most glaring example we've ever seen from a prominent world leader. Von der Leyen is the president of the European Commission, 450 million people living within that union. Oh, and by the way, she's unelected, she's appointed, and here she is brazenly saying we need a digital ID card or app on our phones. Now, bear in mind, France and Germany are trialing this already. The European Union, she wants this to be enforced by the early 2030s and, may I add, backed up by a central bank digital currency, living in a cashless society. And now she wants the whole thing to go global. Can you imagine? On this ID card will be not just your date of birth, your gender, your eye color, your height, your approximate weight. There was your financial status, and goodness knows what else will be on that card. Can you imagine this data falling into the hands of bad actors? And if you think about it,
that's all. And
I speak as somebody who's recently been debanked as a result of his political opinions. And this is happening in America too, as you well know, to lots of people. If we're not careful, we head towards a Chinese-style social credit system where unless you go along with the views of the day, you become a non-person. I cannot think of a more dangerous initiative than this. The problem we've got is we have to ask a question whether our leaders actually believe in our nation.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. with triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold. I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.